Back in the 90s, for a brief period of time, me and many other children around my age became fans of a TV series known as the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And if you were not a fan of the Power Rangers, you were probably lying. At least that's what we said. I got this game around Christmas '94. My parents knew that I was a big Power Rangers fan at the time, to the point of actually recording episodes and rewatching them. And so for Christmas, they got me the game. Also, alongside of the game, they got me these Power Rangers wire stocking stuffers, and they're basically these wire toys that you could maneuver around. And they got me the complete set, including the Green Ranger. I have no idea whatever happened to him, but it was kind of cool at the time. Of course, my favorite Ranger is the Black Ranger, as you can see there. The show is so corny. And the game story is basically Rita has, or is, trying to destroy the Earth again. And of course, I'll be using the Black Ranger. Now, people might have thought this game was going to be a little cheesy, obviously corny, and then it was based off of Power Rangers. I'm not sure how popular the game was still around that time. I still remember the TV show still being popular. So, and from what I know, the game sold decently. But your character starts out with a basic moveset, and the game is, in my opinion, the animations are very well done. From the characters popping out through the glass, as you can kind of see there, just it might seem simple, but the simple stuff, they did it well. The game did. I don't think it was planned to be overly complex, because I think they wanted to appeal to a wide demographic. But yeah, the character animations, from falling down to getting punched, I think they did a very good job on that. Of course, as you make it through the level and you meet your ultimate enemy for that stage, you have a nice transformation into your Power Ranger or Ranger mode, which is cool. The music, of course, starts there, which I like to also point out. The music in this game, they did, in my opinion, a very good job for the Super Nintendo. The music, the game never. There's not a point in the game where you're actually too bored to want to play it, especially if you never played it before. That's just my opinion. But I went back and played through the entire game again. Also, another thing I would like to point out is all the Rangers have basically the same move set. They're just animated differently. Now, when you become the Power Ranger, you get your moves become more expanded. One thing I would like to say is that when completing a set of moves or a combination, it really feels fulfilling in this game. Of course, you have the bosses are all uniquely designed and animated. Again, the game stays interesting all the way through. There's not one point from what I remember when I was younger and even now that I really got bored playing the game. The game, it's not too hard, but it's hard enough to give you just enough challenge. But it's still an enjoyable game. And of course, one thing that I like is at the end, they give you a password and a cool little completion animation there. The password can be used if you need to turn off your system, or at least back then, you could always start back up from whatever point you wanted to. I don't remember when I was younger seeing any reviews about the game, or if I did, I must have glanced over it. But I just remember I just received the game and I just started playing it. I didn't expect much from it, because even at that age, I knew that games based off of movies or anything like that tended to not be very well. But this one actually surprised me for all the reasons that I'm just going through and stating here. Again, the animations. While people don't appreciate that stuff, but the game moves very fluid. It's very solid. I mean, there's not one point in the game where I actually got annoyed at the controls. But I think it's purposely designed that way because they wanted to appeal to a wide, at least around that age, that demographic in there. So they didn't want to make it too hard, but it couldn't be too easy, and it couldn't be too corny, but it couldn't be too serious, which is basically what Power Rangers is anyway. And again, the Power Ranger, your moveset expands. There's a lot more stuff you can do. You can grab the enemy and punch them. You can jump and throw them in the air. You can kick, flip off of them. You can jump off the wall. There's many combinations that you can do with that as well. You don't just have to stand there and punch. Though again, the basic bread and butter combination will get you through the game, from what I have seen. The levels, again, they're not boring. There's a lot of variety in the levels. There's 4 actual stages that you run through, and each stage has about 2 full halves, and in those halves they usually have various little segments, different platforming elements. Again, the variety in boss battles. I always love to just spam one spot because, you know, just mathematics always told me that eventually he's going to come to this spot. I always favored the Black Ranger for obvious reasons, but also because of his dancing style mixed in with martial arts. It actually made his character a little bit more interesting, in my opinion, in the game. That's just me. Again, more variety into the level design, and at the end of the stage there's actually this laser beam that's going off that you kind of have to dodge while fighting enemies, and you'll eventually have to get to it and destroy it. Of course, there's some destructible items and backgrounds and stuff like that. Also, as you've seen earlier, there's also this this special bomb that you have that you can use. Now, this is what made the game just awesome. After the 4 stages, then you have the ability to get into the Megazord, which there's a scene here that I did not show you that actually shows them turning into Ranger mode and then getting into the Megazord. The music here is awesome, and do not be fooled by this combat system. I think I've gotten up to at least 10 to 12 hits in sequence. I wish they would have made a game actually with just the Megazord. Now they made another game after this. There was nothing but a fighting game, but they used the Zord after this one. I am a fan of the Megazord. Of course, you have the beautiful finisher. It's just beautiful. But again, I loved this game as a kid. And I mean, this game just delivered on all levels. At the end, of course, you're treated to a nice little montage, Power Rangers style. Not too corny, but it's still corny. But at least they give you a decent enough ending. And of course, the Black Ranger breaking it down at the end, showing everybody how to do it. But anyway, just thought I'd share my history behind the Power Rangers video game for the Super Nintendo. Peace out, guys.